worker, we are two different things. In fact, a salary worker who has one kid or two children or three children, or who stays at Kaswa or Adenta, or stays at maybe some place far off, everybody's circumstances is totally different. Yeah. So the whole principle is know your fixed expenses, know your variable expenses, and know an amount you can consistently and diligently save up. Whether it's 50 Ghana cedis, 100 Ghana cedis, or 600 Ghana cedis, for me, the whole thing is consistency. So, and let me say this way. Most often than not, we end up drawing the budget in our head. So the whole point is put it down. You see, with experience and engaging many people, because beyond this, I also engage a lot of young people. We see people, so when they make the money, that's how they do it. In their head, this way, they're okay. Then they do the math in their head. No. That's not how you actually budget. You need to take your notepad or your Excel sheet or even your budgeting apps. We have so many of them on the App Store, like Spendy, like Buddy, like Wally. There's so many of them. You can use that to be able to tracking your expenses and knowing where your money should go to. Yeah. And that is when you can know that, okay, X amount is coming in, and then X amount is going out every single month or so.
Yeah. Now, someone is asking a very honest question, and thank you so much for that question. He says, how do you know your needs from your wants? Honestly, she does not know.
Yeah. So you see, like I said, personal finance is personal. So for example, let's say you're a content creator, right? And for you, data is an absolute necessity. Maybe getting the latest gadgets is something that you need. So for me, the key question is, what do you need? What can't you do without? And then the basic things, your food, maybe transportation, those things you can't do without. But the things maybe you don't really need to go out 3 times a month, like I said it. Those are the things you can do without. So it's really every person and what they need. So for example, you have a car. You can't say you won't fuel it. So fuel becomes a necessity for you. Okay. So that's when you prioritize those things first. And then when it comes to the things that you don't need, you can cut back on those things. Okay. Yes, that's what I mean, yeah.
Now, for those in this particular classroom, that's class 2. Class 2 class has a group of people that, unless their eyes does not see that beautiful dress, I used to be in that class. I used to be in class 2. Yeah. Now I'm in class 5. So y'all don't talk to me like that. So the class in class 2, or the students in class 2, are always buying things that they don't need. Or in the moment feel like, oh, but this is nice, but let me have it. I might use it sometime. How do you control that impulse buying? How can you avoid unnecessary spending?
Usually, there's a nice quote that we buy things to impress people that we don't care about, right? So you see, and it's something that is with every person. And I'll use myself an example. You see, when I was doing my national service many years ago, I used to like beans a lot. Yes, gobe. Like, I used to eat gobe a lot. Now, as I transitioned from being a national service person to a contract person to a full-time employee, my salary or my income level also changed with that. And the key thing that came also with that is that my taste buds also changed, right? And that is, it is normal with everybody. Yeah. So the first thing is awareness. The second thing is you need to identify those things that trigger your emotional spend. So for example, Instagram, they keep scrolling on Instagram a lot. And once they see those things, it triggers them to buy. So it could mean that you set time limits on even some of these apps that you do. The other thing is that you need to be mindful of your goals. So for example, you earn 3,000 cedis. Every single month, everything you make, you spend it. You don't save anything at all. You don't have any financial goals. If something should happen to you tomorrow, what will you fall back on? So having your goals in mind, maybe you want to travel to maybe Europe next 2 years, or you want to buy this properties X amount, whatever it is. Once you have those goals, it sort of limits you on what you spend on. And having a budget also really, really helps. A key thing that has really also helped me is I also have an accountability partner. So for what do I mean? At some point in my life, I wanted to buy a PlayStation, a PS5. Then I discussed with my person, and she said that we don't really need this because I had a PS4 at that time. So you see, it was true, I had it, but I just wanted to just upgrade it for the upgrading sake. Yeah. So having somebody that you talk to about money can help you stay grounded. Maybe I feel like buying this nice hair. Oh. But you have to bone straight hair already. Why do you need this extra
what
one?
do you need extra
The extra one?
bone straights for?
Exactly. So having some of these conversations, and I'm saying somebody who is trusted, because another experience is you end up telling somebody, I have money to buy this PS5 for. The following day, they tell you that they've swallowed the shovel and they need their money to go and pay for that thing. So somebody who's trusted can really help you to make a difference in terms of your emotional spend or your impulse buying as well. Yeah.
I want to say big shout out to my accountability partner. He is watching this morning. Good morning. How are you? We're not friends again. You and I are not friends again, but good morning. Thank you. Because I was going to make a decision a couple of months ago about where we live. My boy and I live in a very beautiful place. We're trying to move. And then I was like, hey, why don't I just go and get a mortgage? Okay, it's cool because I want to own my house. And I don't want to be stressing over this rent wahala. And so I told him about it, and then he said, maybe not now. Maybe let's get a place that is, comfortable, and then let's start saving towards that. In fact, for all your gigs, did you say 60%? Yeah, 60% of your
side hustle money
gigs should be saving. It's not towards that, but it should be saved. And then maybe we can put something together and get you a nice house.
You see, it's practical.
Yes, it is. It is. So right now, automatically, when I'm collecting the money from the client, I know that this amount is going into that account, and I don't even know. I don't have anything. I don't have a card. I don't have a checkbook. I don't have anything to that account, and it's just sitting there. And so when I tell you I'm broke, I'm genuinely broke because that money is not my money. So thank you very much. You know yourself. Come back here.
So you see, another thing that can also help you stay grounded. Sometimes, if you have the money on you, you'll be forced, so to say. I mean, you see this nice dress, there's money lying in your account.
Exactly.
You'd use it. But if you, for example, invested that money, you don't have the money. You're literally broke.
Yes.
So investing the money also helps you to avoid some of these impulse buying whenever you do. Another thing that I used to do. So I go to some of these shopping malls, and at those times when I go, I won't go with any shopping list. So whenever I see, then I pick.
You pick.
I realized that I was spending so much money.
Yes.
So now whenever you go shopping, go with a shopping list. And I tell myself that sometimes I pick an item and I say, and ask myself, maybe a 10-second rule, do I really need this thing?
Yes.
If I don't, so I just pause.
Yes.
I'm like, nah, I don't really need this. Then I put it down. So all of these things that I do practically helps me avoid some emotional spend. And also avoid me doing those impulse purchases. Going with a list, pausing, do I really need this thing? Asking myself, I don't really need this thing. Then I put it back down. That's how I
No, that is very practical. Because again, and my audience know this, we're on a journey to not buy whatever we want to buy. So I started writing, and it wasn't originally, and if I'm going to be completely honest, originally it wasn't because I wanted to mark my spending. You know, I'm not going to, I don't want to. I just forget.
Right.
So once I get into the shop, what was I here to buy again? And then I'll buy all sorts of things if I remember, or just never remember. So I put together the things that and I realized that I actually go to the shop and buy exactly what I want to buy.
Exactly.
And I don't buy anything else. And I thought that was really cool. And I always have money on my mobile. I was like, this feels good. Because, as an individual, whilst you're walking around and you don't have money on you, sometimes it can cause depression.
Yes.
Depression is not anything. It's just that you don't have money. Now, how should someone manage their debts and loans?
Yes. So it's good, right? So I would say that there are good debts and there are bad debts. People would beat me for this. But if you go and take a loan to get married, I think it's a bad debt.
It's a terrible debt.
So you agree with me, right?
It's a terrible one. See, listen, I'm not saying that I'm going to marry somebody who doesn't have money. But if you come tell me that, I want to marry you, and you're going to take a loan to marry me, Charlie, there's a possibility that I won't marry you.
There's a huge one. It should be a red flag, to be honest.
It's a red flag.
It should be a red flag.
Because what kind of love is that?
Yes. So
what kind of love is going to put us into trouble like that? Honestly, I'm not going to do it.
So that I'm saying that there are good debts, but actually people do. People actually go into debt.
My team says, what do you call it? Loan for birthday. Oh, y'all must be kidding me. You don't do that. People don't do that.
No, so it's, for example, maybe not a loan credit. Let me explain.
Yeah, okay.
So they will tell maybe this content creator, oh, come and shoot this my birthday for me, and I'll pay you. And they don't pay. So it's like effectively you taking a loan or credit because you're taking the service on credit.
Credit.
So doing some of these things, it's not. But like I was saying, there are good debts and there are bad debts. How would you know whether a debt is good? It will help you generate more wealth. So for example, your content, and I use this example because it's very practical. You're a content creator and you need to, for example, upgrade your phone to take the content.
Yes.
It's absolutely fine to get maybe a loan or whatever to support that because income will be coming in.
Yes.
But if you just want to go and get the phone just for TikToking, just go and see yourself, watch other TikTok, it is not the best. You understand? So good debt would help you create more wealth.
Okay.
And good debt does not erode you of your happiness. Sometimes you go and take a loan and all you think about is, I'll give an example. And my mom absolutely hates when I use it as an example. Shout out to Abina Sewa. I'm not sure she'll be watching. So a couple of years ago, she didn't tell me this, right? There are some loan sharks that go around in our neighborhood. And they'll come to you as a shop owner. And they'll tell you that, let me give you, say, 1,000 cedis. Every week, pay me 400 cedis for the next 3 months or 2 weeks or whatever it is. So for the average person, oh, I can pay 400 cedis in a given week. But they don't really quantify the entire value of the loan they've taken.
Yes.
Because even if for a whole month, and they give you 1,000 cedis, and they say pay 400 cedis every single week for 4 weeks, that is 1,600 cedis.
Exactly.
That is 60%.
Yes.
You understand? So being mindful of, even if I'm taking a loan for my business, what are the terms? So when my mom did that, literally, she was just using her store money to pay off the loan.
The loan.
That's like, literally, if you had told me this, I'd have done the interest rate for you and tell you that, no, I told you that, nah, you are paying 60% on your loan, which is ridiculous.
Wild.
So you need to also be a bit financially literate about kind of some of the loans you take on. About your mortgage, for me, I think mortgage is a good debt to have. For example, if you can take off the interest payment on a monthly basis, it's a good debt because at the end of the day, the house is yours. So that's how you can differentiate between a good debt and a bad debt.
Awesome. Now, some people genuinely have their expenses a bit higher than the income. So, for instance, if you have a child and you're buying food for the house and you're taking care of your mom. Now, all of these things are responsibilities that you genuinely have, but you're paid 1,000 cedis a month. How are you able to manage properly to be able to spend within your means and also not to go and incur unnecessary costs, debt? Sorry.
So it's really important, and I always tell people this: when it comes to the whole concept of personal finance, it boils down to two things. It's either you are increasing your income or reducing your expenses. So you earn 1,000 cedis. My first go-to, if you want to live within that, is to cut back on your expenses. And it's very difficult. So for example, I tell somebody to do 100. I don't know if you know 100. Breakfast, no lunch, no dinner. Or 010. You see,
mine is
111.
001.
So no breakfast, no lunch, dinner.
Barely have lunch. Okay, well, I mostly have lunch, actually.
So,
I have
so 011.
barely have dinner.
So 010.
010. Yeah, 010.
So you see, for how long can I tell you to do 000 or 001? It will be practically difficult.
Yeah.
So there's a limit to how much you can cut back on expenses. You earn 1,000 cedis.
Yeah.
Now, even your food that they sell wherever it is, whether you're going to buy to cook at home, they are all expensive. So I always tell people that beyond cutting back on expenses, if you really want to make a difference, you have to start earning more money.
Yes.
Whether it is increase your income, whether it's a side hustle, because it is practically impossible to live on 500 cedis with 3 children. It's impossible. But I mean, people do it, and like I said, survival.
Yeah.
But you have to either get some side gigs coming in, working extra hours, taking a second job. You need to do that because there's a limit to how much you can cut back on expenses. It's literally not possible. So if you want to manage that money, have these two things. Either you reduce your expenses, cut back any wastages, and then you have to increase your income. Yeah.
Indeed. Now, what are the smart habits everyone should develop for a better financial future?
Yeah. So I'll touch on a number of them. One thing that has really helped, and I always say this every chance I get to speak on this finances subject. You see, for many people, right, their money system is they get their income, they take the expenses out, and then they save whatever is left. So you get 1,000 cedis, you spend whatever it is, then whatever is left, you say you won't save. If you really want to build wealth, you want to improve, your system should be, you take your income, you subtract your savings and investment first.
Okay.
Then you go to expenses.
Okay.
So what do I mean? You earn 1,000 cedis. What you can practically save every single month is 50 Ghana cedis. You take that out first. You save it. How you can do this religiously is something we call a standing order. So you can tell your bank that, okay, I'm paid on 20th, 21st, take 10 cedis from my account and send it to, say, this investment account, for instance. So you have taken out your savings and investment first before you go to expenses. So for me, the key thing, your income minus your savings should be equal to your expenses. So my wife and I, that's what we religiously do. Every month, once we are paid, the first thing we always take out is our savings and investment component. Because, like you said, life is hard. If you do not make room for taking away that portion first, you end up with nothing. Because imagine you earn 1,000 cedis. There are so many things that you need to buy. So if you're not really conscious about taking that first money out, you may not save anything. The second thing is that beyond saving, you need to invest the money. And there are short-term investments, long-term investments, and you need to have all of these things in place. And the good thing is, with 50 Ghana cedis, you can invest. So if you earn 1,000 cedis, you can say that for the next 5 months, every month I'm saving 10 Ghana cedis. By the 5th month, I have 50 Ghana cedis, because 10 cedis every single month. Then I would invest the 50 Ghana cedis. So that's how you can practically build wealth over time. And when you talk about investment, you can speak to an advisor, you can speak to some of us, and I'm sure if you want to talk about investment, I can go into details about it. And that's how you can build wealth over time.
Yeah.
You save before you spend, and then when you save the money, you have to invest that money for the long-term wealth creation.
Absolutely. Now, for those who have been, who have actually repented this morning and decided to start the journey of investing or saving, Desmond is going to help us make that decision well. But it's definitely not going to be on air. So if someone wants to connect with you, you work with Stanbic Investment Management Services. So you're the right guy for the job. So if someone wants to have a conversation with you, how do they connect with you?
Absolutely. We are on the 4th floor of Stanbic Heights building. So when you come, say you're looking...
That's airport?
Airport, yes, Stanbic Heights. So just come to say you want to invest, and we'll help you. Also, you can reach us on social media. You can send us a DM on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn that you want to get an advisor. Also, you can send us an email. Like I mentioned, the email for people, it's simscustomerservice@stanbic.com.gh. Or you can reach out to me on Twitter, that way I'm most active, and then, or Instagram, and then I can also get you an advisor. So I lead a team of advisors, and so we'll be able to help you structure something that's best for you. In fact, the good thing is that you can even go to the Play Store and download the Sims Limited app, and then use that to start your investing journey. It's so easy. 50 Ghana cedis, you can invest for yourself.
Absolutely. Okay, before I let you go, we have some questions for you. Osei from Kaswa says, is it better to save first when your salary comes, or you pay your bills and save whatever is left? Oh, he's already given advice.
Exactly. So you need to, because the money is, right, there was this thing, right? There was this scenario that I did I did a presentation, and I asked people to show by hand those whose income they are not comfortable with. And everybody put up their hand. And I told them that if your current income was multiplied by 5, would you be more comfortable? And everybody put up. And I'm asking you a question. If your current income is multiplied by 5, would you be more comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So when I called people out, somebody currently was earning 1,000 cedis. If you multiply that by 5, that's 5,000.
Yes.
But there was someone who was earning 5,000 already, says that they are not comfortable.
Yeah, I get it.
So that person was waiting for 25,000 before they will be comfortable. So it's really the little things you can do as you look at improving your income bits. So that's the kind of mindset that everybody needs to have.
Absolutely. Now, every single, what is a loan that saved me? Wait. Okay, a loan that saves me, and I use my salary to pay those loans.
Yes.
Na Joji, na Jijo, Kaneshi, na Jijo. I'm not quite getting your message, but I think you're saying that every single month it's a loan that saves me, and you use your salary to pay those loans. So I'm thinking MTN Momo or one of those loans that you can readily take as and when, and then when your salary comes, you go, hey, is this no, that's not, no, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that sounds like a...
But that's the reality of many Ghanaians.
True.
And that's why I always tell people that there's a limit to how much you can do that. You need to find, and it could be that you need to, for example, look for another job or adding a side hustle to it.
Yeah.
And I've mentored people that they send mashke to the office to sell. Because when people in the office, they don't have breakfast around.
Or even just snacks. People.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So some of these little things that you buy biscuits, you go and sell it to the office, plantain chips, you sell it in the office. People will buy. It's income stream coming in.
Yeah.
And when you save money or invest money, you also get an extra sort of income also coming in as well. So there are many ways to that.
Now, finally, if your Kwame from Kumasi says, if your salary is not much, how can you still save and invest? Because after paying everything, there's almost nothing left. I think the first question answers it.
After everything. So it will never be enough.
Yes.
But like I said, the good thing is with 50 Ghana cedis, you can invest. So what you can do is that for, even if it's 5 months, say that I'm committing 10 cedis every single month. And I'm pretty sure everybody, what's his name again in Kumasi? Kwame can say that I'm putting 10 cedis every single month. 5 months, then he can download the Sims app and start investing.
It's very possible to that, Kwame, you are a typical Kwame. Let all the other excesses go.
Yes.
I'm just joking. Alrighty, so those are the questions we have. You can also share with us your thoughts. In fact, you can still ask questions about this throughout. We will definitely let Desmond answer you. But Desmond, so you said we should find you at Stanbic Heights. Yes.
Or if you want to reach out to me personally, my username across all my social media is Desmond Bredu. So Desmond and BREDU across Twitter or X, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can send me a message that you want financial advice. I have a team of advisors, and then we can reach out to you. And then, I mean, it's better if you give maybe a context, then we can reach out to you directly and say, okay, you said A, B, C, D, so this is how we can better help you. So whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, mostly I'm not active on Facebook, but it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, we're more than happy to support you. Yes, on that
Thank
journey.
you so much, Desmond Bredu. He is, okay, I'm trying to get the...
Yeah. I can mention it for you. I'm
Please
the head
mention
of
it.
client coverage
Yes,
for Stanbic
yes,
Investments.
you are.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming this morning. It's been great having this conversation with you. And like I always say, we're learning and growing together, and it's important, very important for you to grab these nuggets of wisdom to guide you. I said this at the beginning of our interview that listen, and I'm very particular about my girls because it's important. A very long time ago, we're trained and raised to just be domestic and then, you know, find a fine gentleman for him to marry us, and then we'll go home and continue being domestic. But right now, we're contributors to the home. We're partners. And so as a partner, you should, if you're looking forward to being a good partner to your partner, you need to have some in your pocket, okay? Because these guys, they be suffering too, okay? All right, we have more coming up here on the show. Stay right here. We'll be right back after this.